Hi, Keshav here. Welcome back. In previous video, I spoke about Content MD5. That is one of the properties of blob in Azure Storage account. So I'll paste the link in the description below. You can go through that so that you can understand what is Content MD5. So in this specific video, I wanted to cover very important case study, especially if you have file ingestion framework built, and that file ingestion framework, just assume that it loads the data from the files. Those are placed in the storage account. So that's a daily process. So as part of this daily process, you don't want to load the file again if there are no changes. You wanted to pick the file and load the data only if there are changes, right? That's what your requirement is. Your file ingestion framework should load the data from the files those are placed in the storage account if there are changes from the previous load. If there are no changes, that specific file should be skipped for the data load. That's what the requirement is. So as part of that, let me just walk you through the steps those I'm going to perform here. So first I wanted to loop through all the files those are in the storage account. All right, then for each file I wanted to get the Content MD5, that is hash key. As I said, I'll just paste the link in the description so that you can understand what exactly that is. So as part of the next step, I wanted to compare one which is already there in the audit table as part of previous execution. All right, so if this Content MD5 which I am getting through framework now is matched to the one which is already there in the audit table, then that says that file doesn't have any changes. The data which is loaded before, the same data existing in the file. All right, so I wanted to skip that specific file. So in case the file, it's a new file is coming through, obviously we don't expect the record for that specific file in the audit table. So by default it will go for data ingestion. All right, so finally once data ingestion is done, then the previous MD5 will be updated with latest MD5 for that specific file in the audit table, which further can be used for future comparison. All right, that's how the framework should work. All right, so as I said, these are the steps I'm gonna perform. Let's quickly get into the ADF and I'll quickly start building the pipeline. So before going ahead with pipeline build, let me just quickly walk you through the table which I already created. This is going to be audit table. So it's a file list. Of course, whatever the naming convention that you want, you can proceed. I'm gonna just proceed with this name now. There are few records already inserted into this table. At this moment, MD5 is null. That's fine. And also I created a stored procedure. So simple stored procedure which will take two input values, that is a file name and MD5. If file exists already in the audit table, that means the file has been loaded before. It will just compare. If count is greater than 1, it will just update that MD5 for that specific file in the audit table. If count is 0, then that says that the file is completely new. It has to be inserted into audit table. So this stored procedure will take care of both updating the MD5 for existing file in case there are changes. If the file is new, it will make sure inserting that record into audit table. All right, so let me quickly jump onto pipeline build, and also I wanted to show you the files those I'm targeting to load here. So these are the files those already there in the storage account within this container, that is development. So I wanted to process all these files. Once the framework execution is done, we would expect all these file entries are made in the audit table, that is file list table. So at this moment there are only few file names. Those I just made some entries for our testing purpose. Alright, so let me just proceed with the pipeline build. As a first activity, I need get metadata, which will fetch files from this storage account. It has to fetch all the file names. So I need get metadata activity. I'm gonna name it as get files. Okay, so here I already got dataset created. I don't want to create new one. Let me just proceed with existing one. Let me just take this and let me proceed with this dataset. Okay, here the field list that I'm gonna select is child items, because I wanted to get all the files those are in the given storage account container and given directory, but I don't have any directory. Directly from the container I'm gonna read all the files. So if I can show you this, it is from development container and it is going to get all the file names as a child items. Alright, so this is done. Now I wanted to loop through all these files one by one. So for that I need for each activity, why I need to loop through. So for each file that I'm getting through, I wanted to get content MD5. Alright, so let me just complete the expression for this. I'm gonna say get files output dot child items. That's fine. Within this for each, I need one more get metadata. This get metadata is going to get the MD5 for each file that is passing through the for each. Alright, so now I'm gonna say get MD5 and here I'm gonna use same data set, and this time the item is going to be content MD5, but currently I can't see content MD5 because here you can see that until unless you pass the file name, content MD5 property, that field list will not be shown for content MD5. So you need to give some name. I'm just giving at this moment some name, and let me go back here and now you can see content MD5. Alright, this is blob property, so you need to select some blob, then only you can see this content MD5 is shown for you. So what I would say, let me just clone this data set. I don't want to disturb one which is already there. I'm gonna say MD5. Okay, I'm going to use this MD5 dataset and I need one parameter, that's file name, because I want to pass the file name dynamically whatever I'm getting through for each. Alright, so now from the development container, and I want to read the file I'm getting through this parameter. That is fine. We need to change this dataset, and file name is going to be the one that we are getting through for each, that is going to be the item.name. Alright, so for that file we need content MD5. Alright, so this activity will give content MD5 for each file that is coming through for each activity. Now next step is I wanted to check this specific file already exists in the audit table. So if exists, I want to get the count. I want to check if the file exists already in the audit table. That means the file entry is there in the audit table. That means the file has been loaded already in as part of previous execution. If does not exist, that says this file is new. So I want that count. I'll tell you why do I need that count to be fetched here. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use lookup activity. Through this lookup activity, I'm going to get a count. So I'm going to name it as check if file exists. So you can name it as, you can follow proper naming conventions. I'm not spending much time on that now. So let me take the data set. It is from SQL, and I'm gonna use the query. I don't want to make this video lengthy, so I written already some expressions. So let me just go ahead and use this expression, which gets the count from the table for the given file. So I'm gonna just paste it here. So it's very simple. I'm just concatenating, and the select statement I'm writing, this is like select count as CNT from file list where the file name equals to whatever I'm getting through. So as it has to be dynamic, that's where I'm using expression like this with concat function. So I hope that is clear for you. This activity will give the count of count. If in case the file exists, it will be 1, else 0. So now the next activity, what I need is, I want to get the existing MD5 to compare later. So again, I need one more lookup activity. I'm gonna just say get existing MD5. So from where it has to get existing MD5? It has to get from this table, audit table. So for this specific, just assume like we are getting the customer's file through for each. For that specific customer's file, if the file already loaded before, there we would expect the MD5 is also being captured here. So I wanted to get, for that file, I wanted to get the MD5 in case it was loaded before. If not, then I wanted to take some default MD5. So let me show you. For that also I written expression already. Let me just use this. See, I'll explain you this expression. Let me quickly paste it here. Let me select dataset, and table name is going to be NA, and query, let me paste this expression here. So what this expression does at this moment, this activity name is different. Let me just copy the activity name. This is the name of the activity. I'm gonna change it. All right, now it is resolved. So what exactly this expression doing here? See, I'm just comparing the count that we are getting out from this activity is equals to 0. If the count is 0, that says the file was not loaded before. So that is completely new file that we are loading today. So in that case, what I'm taking some default text as MD5. Definitely whatever the text I given, it won't be MD5, will not be like this. So I wanted to make sure that it never matched to the real MD5. So in case the file already been loaded, so the count is not equals to 0, then I wanted to fetch the MD5 from the table. Whatever it is there here, I wanted to fetch. In case if there is a null value here, I wanted to take again the default MD5, which I just take like string zzz like this. So yeah, I think you are clear. I'm just comparing. If the count is equals to 0, then take this MD5, this as MD5. If count is not equals to 0, get the real MD5 from the table. In case null, take default one again. Alright, so this will get existing MD5. Then after this activity, I need one more lookup activity to set the file name. I'll tell you why I need to set the file name, though I'm getting the file name through for each, but still, why do I need to set this file name here? I'll let you know. So let me just select. To set this file name, either you can use set variable activity or lookup activity. I'm going to use lookup activity here. For that also there is a reason. Maybe I'll speak about that in coming video. I don't want to waste time for that now. Okay, so I'm gonna use the expression again like this. Same, whatever I'm getting through for each, same thing. I'm just using it here. So I'm just aliasing that as file name. Alright, that's it, done. I'm gonna name it as set file name. So this video is going to be lengthy, but I think it's worth watching, because I'm covering this complete Content MD5 property and how we can make use of that in our file ingestion framework. All right, so this is what it is, which is setting up the file name. The next activity which I need is if condition activity. Why do I need that? So I wanted to compare both MD5, existing MD5, and which I'm reading today, both are matching or not. If matching, that says the file already loaded before and there is no any change in the data, so it has to be ignored. If does not match, if file exists and does not match, that says file has been loaded before but there is a change in the content. So as there is a change in the content, obviously we need to reload. All right, so in case the file does not exist, in that case also MD file never match, and in that scenario what happens, it will load the data into table, and also there will be entry made for this file, for that specific file in this audit table. All right, that's what we are expecting. So here, okay, let me pause the expression for this if condition. It is again going to be very simple. The expression which is already I created, let me just copy and paste it here and I'll explain you. So let me paste this expression here. Okay, again here the activity name is different. Let me just take the activity name, that is check file exist. Now we want here this activity name which gets existing MD5. So I'm gonna say get existing MD5. Yeah, and this get existing MD5, it's going to compare with MD5 that we are getting through this activity. That is the first activity which gets current content MD5 for the specific file that is coming through for each. So I'm gonna say this get MD5. All right, so what exactly this is doing, it is just comparing the previous existing MD5 with current MD5. If both are same, then obviously we don't want anything to be done. So I want to just put one wait activity. I'm gonna say no changes. In case it's not matching, then what exactly it has to do, it has to load the data into tables. So I'm gonna take copy activity, so I'm gonna name it as load data, and let me set the source. Source is, yeah, ds storage. Let me use this existing data set, ds underscore storage 1. Here I need to pass the file name from where it has to load the data. So obviously this file name, what I need to pass here, whatever I'm getting to for each. Now if you look at these activities, see if you are able to see for each activity. No, here, right? So because the scope of the for each is outside if condition, so you can't see that for each within if condition. So that's where I used one activity to set the file name. So even though I'm just setting exactly how I'm getting for each, but still I have to set file name separately through lookup activity, so that will be detected inside if condition. So now if you look at this right activities list, you can see activities set file. All right, so let's take that activity. First row alias name that I given is file name, should be fine. So from that activity, the output value that I'm getting from this file name, that's it, the first row file name. So source is done, and also here value for that parameter will be passed from here. That should be fine. Now let's go to sync. Now let me select SQL database, and the table name that I want to create same as the file name, right? So I'm gonna again use this set file name, first row file name. But if you look at this file name, right, you will get with extension .csv. I don't want that. Table should not be created with file name .csv, right? So I want to avoid that extension. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use replace function. What I'm gonna replace, I'm gonna replace .csv with blank. That's it. All right, this is how the table name should be. All right, that's it. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say auto create table will be created with DPO schema. I'm fine with that. Now this activity, this copy data activity, will make sure that data is loaded into table from each file. Now once data load is done, the next thing what I need to do, I need to make audit entry. For that, as I shown before, I already created stored procedure. Now I need to execute that stored procedure through this stored procedure activity. All right, let me just, I'm gonna just say make audit entry. Okay, so let me select the link service and the stored procedure, that is USB MD5, and it needs two input values. One is file, another one is MD5. So again, file name, whatever I'm getting through, but I want in this format. I don't want .csv. I want like this without extension. So I'm gonna just use this expression. All right, now I need to pass the MD5 as well. So this is what I'm getting through this activity. Get MD5, where is get MD5? Yes, get MD5 output dot. Let me see how that expression is written. So let me copy paste one in the if condition activity. So this is what it is going to be like this. Sorry, this one. Yeah, it is content MD5. The item name is content MD5. So I'm gonna copy paste same one here. So let me just delete and paste that expression in here. All right, that's it. We are done with pipeline build. Very simple. First, we need one git metadata activity to read all the files from the given path, and those will be passed out to for each. For each will loop through each file and pass each file at, to the all activities. Those are inside for each. Here the first activity is get metadata again to fetch MD5 for that specific file. Settings are here, and the next activity to check if file already been loaded before, and the next activity to get existing MD5 in case the file was loaded before, and next activity to set file name. It is because the for each will be out of scope within if condition activity. That's where I'm just using this activity to just set the file name, because that is required for copy activity and also for the store procedure which makes audit entry. So within if condition activity, we have two activities: copy data activity which loads data, and store procedure activity which makes audit entry. And the expression for if condition activity is like this. It is comparing the existing MD5 with the new MD5 that we are getting through. So this property is very important property. I know that you might get a question like, why don't you use modified date? Of course we can use modified date to check if the file is changed, but it won't work out all the time, because if you upload this file, same file again, even though content is not changed, but still your modified date will be changed as you are uploading today. But whereas content MD5 never be changed if there is no change in the data. All right, so that's where this content MD5 is going to be the realistic feature which will help you out to compare if there are changes in the file and load the data. All right, so this is going to be very good feature for your file ingestion framework. All right, now let's kickstart with the pipeline execution and see how it is executing. So currently these are the current entries in the table. Let's see, and we would expect the more file entries here, and for these files, if in case these files, there should be MD5 content updated. That's what I'm expecting. So let's see. I think already there are a few files loaded. So let's execute our query on audit table. All right, see. Yeah, still it is running. Let's wait for a few more seconds. All right, we don't see content MD5 is inserted. Here it is just inserting the expression as is. So let me just quickly check what is happening in there. All right, let me go in here. Okay, now let me just go in here. So get MD5 output dot content MD5. It should come through. Let me run it again. So I'm just going back to the previous state. So I just deleted all the records. I mean, I dropped the table and recreated again, and also I inserted few sample records in here. So let's wait for few seconds. All right, it is coming now. Okay, so yeah, we can see that there is a MD5, content MD5 is updated for each file. So I wanted to show you one thing. I wanted to take this customer's file and make some changes and re-upload again, and we'll see if there are any changes in the existing MD5. Okay, so I'm gonna just paste this existing MD5 here and for our reference. So let me quickly do one thing. So I'm just downloading that file from the blob storage, this one, download. I'm just deleting it. All right, I deleted completely. I'm gonna upload again. I'm going to upload that file again from downloads. I'm not making any changes. Okay, just be aware that I'm not making any changes. I'm just uploading. If you look at this file, it's been uploaded now. So modified date is today. If you depend on modified date as it is been updated, sorry, the file is uploaded now, of course modified date will be different compared to the previous modified date. Then it will be treated as there are data changes in there, it has to be loaded. But I did not make any change, and let me just try executing the framework again, and we'll see how it is behaving. Okay, so let's see. Now we are getting existing MD5 and set file, and then it went to if condition. In if condition, I would expect it is not going to, most of the files should not go to data load because there is no difference in MD5, but still it is going there. Expression might be, of course, getting errors is good. That will help you out to learn more and better, right? So I'm not trimming that part, whatever the troubleshooting. All right, I know what is the issue is. So when it is comparing here with existing file, I think it's not matching because, so let me tell you quickly. While it is fetching the existing MD5, get existing MD5, if you look at this, I'm just passing this condition where file name equals to item dot name, but it will be like customers dot csv, but whereas in our audit table we made entry like there's just only customers. We just trimmed out the .csv, so that's where it is not matching out. That's where it is always saying that your MD5 is not matching. That's why it is going to data load again and again. So here it should be like this. The expression should be the way how we are doing, right? I want to replace the extension from the file name. So then we'll get exact, MD5. So I'm gonna just say replace this what I'm gonna replace dot CSV with blank. Now it should work. All right, fine. Is there any other activity where we need to replace? Yes, here also count, where when you say that count of that specific file name, right? Here also the extension should be replaced with blank. Otherwise it never match up with the file name how it is in our audit table. .csv should be replaced with. All right, now it should be fine. That's it. Or if condition expression is same, no changes, and only the changes are two places. One, while getting the existing MD5 extension should not be there, and also while checking if file already been loaded, there should not be any extension, as audit table has got file names without extension, so then only it will match up. All right, fine, that's okay. Now let's wait for the execution. Now I'm expecting, see, it is not going to data load now. It says no data changes. So that means for that specific file, content MD5 is matching. All right, so there is no any activity which loads the data. Copy data activity is not even picked up. So if I execute this query, for customers file, let's compare whether it is matching to the previous one or not. See, exactly it is matching to the previous one because there are no changes in the file. I just uploaded again. Even though I uploaded today, still there is no any change in MD5 content because there is no content change in the file. Now what I'm gonna do, the same file, I'm just editing, I'm just updating some data. So let me just change something. Maybe I would say here for the first row, I'm just changing the customer key. I'm gonna just put 11022. All right, 110, yeah, 23, that's fine. I'm gonna save this file. Yes, it's been saved. See, it is updated now. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm going to just drop the file again from storage, delete, and upload again, which is just modified. As this file is updated now, we would expect this file is reloaded and content MD5 is updated in the audit table. All right, so now let me just trigger the pipeline again, debug. So for other files, data load will be skipped. For this specific file, I would expect data load should happen because there are changes in the content. And also MD5 content, also I'm expecting the new MD5 content MD5 will be updated here. All right, so let's wait. See, there are few files, those are being skipped because there are no changes at all. And there is one data load, it is been picked up for that file which I just uploaded after the changes. Alright, so let's wait for a few more seconds, it will be done. Alright, pipeline execution is almost done. Yeah, it is done now. Now let me query this table and check. Yes, see, there is change in MD5, so content MD5, because we updated the file. There are data changes. Alright, so this is what it is exactly. How you can make use of this property, that's a blob property, content MD5 for your file ingestion framework. And make sure you are loading the data only if there are changes and skipping if there are no changes. So that way your framework will be well optimized and you will never be loading the file if there are no changes. Alright, so I hope this is helpful for you. Thanks for watching my video. So we'll meet again with a different concept. Until then, bye bye. Thank you.